So we're in the OpenStax Statistics Chapter 9, and we're working through the Excel spreadsheet. So we're going to be talking about the hypothesis testing example with sales data. Just as a reminder, you can always access the OpenStax textbook for free. Just look in the description in the video for a link. And the Excel spreadsheet that you see here, you can access it for free at divideandconquermath.com. Just go to the OpenStax Statistics area. Okay, so we have that Jasmine has just begun her new job, and in a sample of 16 sales calls, it was found that she closed the contract for an average value of $108 with a standard deviation of $12. Test at 5% significance that the population mean is at least $100 against the alternative that it is less than $100. So, company policy requires that new members of the sales force must exceed an average of $100 per contract during the employment period. Can we conclude that Jasmine has met the requirement at the significance level of 95%? Okay, so for this one, so first of all, the first thing that you want to notice with this is that, okay, as we're kind of coming up with our data, so our null hypothesis and our alternative hypothesis, so I'll just note those here. They aren't in the spreadsheet, but this is always something that you want to have kind of written off on the side. So what we want to be able to show here is that we want to show that she's met this requirement, right? So since you need to be at least $100 against the alternative, so we need the alternative to be that mu is greater than 100. This is what we want to be able to show. So then our null will be obviously the opposite. So you always need to know your null and alternative because this is going to really drive how you organize the rest of your data. So when we organize our data, very similar to how we've done it in the previous two tabs, you can check those videos out if you need to. So the mean that I'm working with here is 100. Now, one thing that's going to be a little bit important here is our standard deviation. So in reading this particular problem, notice where the standard deviation comes from. It specifically comes from this data set of 16 sales calls. And from those 16 sales calls, you have a standard deviation of $12. So this standard deviation in this case, we can make it a little bit stronger and say this is not sigma, this is S. This is very clearly S. And this is very important because as we can see, we have an N of 16 and then Jasmine's mean, so the data that we're working with, so our X will be 108. So here's kind of the data that we're working with. But what's really important about this is that we have a standard deviation that is S and an N of 16, which means that we need to use students T. And so I want to talk about here how to use students T with both the critical value method versus the p-value method. So to get this party started for students T, so the mean is still going to be the mean, and then your standard deviation, so per usual, you're going to take your standard deviation that you have divided by the square root of n. And since we're talking about students T, we also need to make sure we note the degrees of freedom. So you take your n minus 1, and so there's going to be my degrees of freedom. Now, one of the things about this is since we are strictly in students T, regardless of what method we're talking about, critical value or p-value, both of these are going to require a test statistic. And so the test statistic is very similar to how you would compute the test statistic if you were in the normal distribution, right? Except instead of this now being a test statistic Z, this will be a test statistic T. Say that 10 times fast. Okay, so my test statistic. I take my X minus my mean divided by the standard deviation from my distribution of sample means, okay? So you have to know this test statistic now in either case, because the only way to do this is to have your, to set up your distribution. So your kind of your T distribution, this is always going to be centered here. I'll note this for you. This is always centered here, boom, at 0. This is always the case now. So when we move into our students T, it is centered at 0. End of statement. And so then as far as what do we do from here, now it kind of depends on whether you're doing critical value method or whether you're doing p-value method, but you have the same test statistic for both. Okay, Now, for the critical value, remember, with critical value, you have to go through and find that. So we're talking about an alpha level of 5%. So we're talking about having 5% of the area. And in this case, so my 5%, so I'm using the t dot inverse function. So I've got 5% area, and then I have to also put in my degrees of freedom. So that's how that works. Notice that I put a negative in front here because this is obviously going to be a right-tailed test. So I want to have that 5% of the area. So I have to put the negative in front to force this number to be positive because your inverse function is always going to default to the left, right? So, okay, cool. So here's my critical value. And so then I just lay it all out right on my graph. So here's my critical value of that 1.753 versus here's my test statistic of that 2.67. And so remember, this area here, this is your reject zone. And so we're going to reject since that's where the test statistics falls in. So now, how would we compare this to the p-value method? So with the p-value method, so it's kind of like if you're trying to think of like how it might relate to, say, like the normal distribution. So remember, we've talked about there's two different ways with the normal distribution that you can compute a p-value. You can compute a p-value either just using the regular normal distribution or the standard normal distribution. But when you use the standard normal distribution, you always have to use the test statistic. Well, now when we move to students T, you just always have to use the test statistic. That's what you do everything against. So now when I find my p-value, I am computing my area against this test statistic, okay? And so notice how I have this set up. So I need this to be on the right, so I have 1 minus, that's going to force everything to go to the right, 1 minus, and then for my t.dist function, so I plug in my test statistic and my degrees of freedom, and then it's always going to be true. And so in this case then, so just to make this clear as to kind of what this is referring to, so let's see, maybe I'll use, let's use this color. So what I'm referring to is the area from here over. So this whole blue area is going to have an area of 0.05. But from here to here, this has an area of 0.008. And so as you can see, this is obviously less than 0.05. So we have that whole, if the p is low, the null must go. So in either case, I am rejecting either by the critical value method because I'm in the reject zone, or I'm rejecting because my p-value, my little amount of area, is less than that alpha value. So in either way, it doesn't matter. So you can really use either method and it will get you to the same answer.